Okay, good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, August 17th. This is the Hingham Historic District's Commission meeting. Thank you all for coming. We have a full agenda tonight. We're waiting for one more person. So a couple items. Number one, we have a new member of the commission that's here with us this evening. This is her first meeting. This is Veronica Madden. Goes by Ronnie. She's a lawyer. She's got an extensive background in with the state of Massachusetts state penitentiary system.
Prison system. Right?
Prison system. Okay, prison system.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that that's going to be put to good use here on this commission. So if you're for all those at home, this is a really good thing. We welcome Ronnie, and she's going to be a very valuable member. Andrea, you have a few comments regarding the handbook?
Yes.
Thank you.
You know, one other thing I have, though, is a news flash. Well, it isn't exactly a flash, but we found out about it. Do you remember a number of months ago, I had spoken to you about the positive train control apparatus in Virginia that was going to be put up along the Greenbush right-of-way. There were to be 5 74-foot towers, about 3 feet in diameter. And so that was, and my boss, Mary, and I had called the FCC, and we spoke to some other people, because by the time we got the notification in 2016, there was no public comment period left, basically. So we were very concerned about that. Then, as it happened, they pulled the project for the time being, but then it came back again, this in 2017 in March. But it was no longer the positive train control. That was taken care of by another vendor. All they put up was one telephone-sized pole along the right-of-way at the junction of Fort Hill and Fresh River Ave. So it's very non-intrusive, and that took care of the positive train control. And the positive train control is that emergency braking system that was required by Congress to help avoid accidents for both freight and commuter rail. So that's done. So what we found out, just by talking to people from other towns, and because the MBTA, unfortunately, they don't always return phone calls or respond to emails. I'm not saying anything that anybody else doesn't know. Anyway, so what we found out was that these poles that were going to be installed along the right-of-way in prescribed, proposed locations that were definite, were actually wireless. They were to enhance the wireless on the commuter rail, the Wi-Fi, and then what was going to happen was that the vendor was going to sell space on the poles to other wireless companies. So there was a great hue and cry, and everyone in the Massachusetts our state house, and also our representatives and senators in the U.S. Congress objected. And so the thing has been put on hold again until we'll wait to see what happens until they come up with something a little less intrusive, perhaps. But this was going to be through historic districts. Andover was going to be the first area where this was done, and they really fought back. So anyway, thank goodness for our National Preservation Act that gave us the ability to fight stuff like that. So anyway, there's that. And then the other thing is this board will be reviewing there are solar panels that are going to be placed on the, in the parking lot. And it's almost going to be, I don't know if you've driven along into town lately on Route 3. There's an area, it's covered with these solar panels. And so our concern was, of course, that's still in the historic district there. And so they're going to be, no, actually it's not, but it's in a National Register eligible historic district. So again, Section 106 applies. And so we're waiting now, the comment that came back from the Mass Historical Commission when they filed their project notification form at our insistence. Mass Historical Commission wants all sorts of, they want them to do a simulated things with photographs, and I don't know what else, I have to look at it again, but they have to prepare presentations so that we can get public comments as well. So,
These were going to be in the parking lot of...
yes, and you know what it amounts to? It's almost like you park underneath them.
Right.
So,
Like a big
it's hard to-
carport.
Big carport, yes. All over the entire parking lot. So, you've seen them along the roadside, Virginia, and on the way to work, to Cambridge, have you?
I'm only focusing.
Anyway, let's see. All right, so that brings me to this, and you want me to do it now or later? Since
Just
Virginia's here.
Yeah, just talk about.
Just quickly. So, with the help of my trustee, Carol Otis, who helps me out on Thursdays, we put together this wonderful binder. I hope you consider it wonderful. And anyway, it's, let me just take you through. Some of you have provided comments for which we were grateful. So the first one is the National Historic Preservation Act, which probably nobody's read in its entirety. Nevertheless, there it is. Then we have our enabling legislation, which is Chapter 40C, Mass General Law. And so that lays it all out for you. Then the Historic Districts bylaw is after the first article about the historic districts and bylaw. And then, so the text of the bylaw is in this section. Now, I just put in a bunch of different guidelines, including our own. So you can peruse through that. But our guidelines are there both for the general evaluation and for additions and new construction. So that's there. Then comes the document that we sent out not too long ago, which Ronnie really helped out with a great deal, and that is the rules and procedures. So Hans and I and Ronnie went through that. And so that's one of the ones we're going to vote on tonight. So hopefully you have been able to read it. If you haven't, then we'll have to talk about that. And then the next is, and I hope she put the right ones in, it's the application for a Certificate of Appropriateness. And I made some changes, Ronnie. I don't know if she made the change in the notebooks, but it was to your point about adding the other types of, seems to be a lot in here. So anyway, that just gives you a sense of, we revamped the application itself, and the requirements are much the same, but they're, we hope, better laid out. And Virginia was also very helpful in providing comments for that as well. And then, so that's basically it. I won't bore you anymore. Thank you very much.
All right.
right.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. First up, we have 360 Main Street. This is a continuation from last time. Sharon James is here. Great to see you again. And Al Kearney's here, the architect. And if you want to come forward?
Yeah, because you can't speak.
Yeah, come on up.
No, you may not need me.
So Sharon and Al had us out last weekend to the site. There were a few of us that were there, and I think some others know the property pretty well. We drive by it all the time, but it was great to see it and kind of walk into the backyard and go down down into the level below the road. So that was really helpful, and to get a little tour of the house itself to see what extent of the project. So thanks for having us out. It's really helpful. So if you want to take it where we left off last time, I think there was some questions regarding some of the drawings. There was a lot of open-ended stuff because we hadn't really been out to the site yet.
Right. So
But,
I think we left off, and the drawings were somewhat misleading because of a roof line issue I'd drawn on the back sides, right? I fixed those, and I think I sent those to Andrea, and I hope you got those
Yep.
revisions, but it was...
Sure did.
Oh, thank you. But,
Do you have copies of those, Andrea?
Wait, the revisions that, in this latest,
yeah, that I emailed you last week, I think. I didn't know if they were distributed or...
you know what? No, I apologize for that, but I'm going to get them right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I have a copy with me if you
You
want to
do?
take a look
Then
at
I'll
it.
make copies.
But it's a very subtle
Okay.
change. but-
No, I apologize. It didn't,
I should have made copies myself. Thanks, Andy.
excuse me, what's different on here?
With the stuff we talked about last time, I think I had a ridge line that was
Was it the-
A202?
lower than,
Which page?
That's right.
I don't know.
So, yeah, it was the overhead roof line.
Yeah, stuff that you picked up on.
Yep, and then A202, I think, was the side view of the major.
Yeah, but it didn't really speak to the mass of what we were presenting. It was just a subtle
Yep.
drafting error almost.
Okay,
So,
so it didn't change too much, just
No,
how we were visualizing it here.
perceptible, really. And it's on the backside, too, so.
Okay.
Which didn't really affect the
Okay,
overall design. But, so, I think that went well overall. It was well received by the board.
Yep.
And then the site visit, it's difficult because it's such a challenging site.
Right.
It drops off and it drops off again, and there are those issues that we need to address. But
Right.
and Nancy's done a very thoughtful sort of
Yep.
landscaping plan that speaks to those concerns. And so that's sort of where we're at, I guess.
Okay. Let me, Mike Collard is not here this evening, who's our architect on the commission, and he did put together a paragraph with some points here. I just want to read that into the record, if I could. So Mike says, "I regret I'm not able to attend the August 17th, 2017 Historic Districts Commission meeting. In lieu of being there in person, I'm providing comments and questions regarding the hearings on the agenda. Please see below." Okay, 360 Main Street. After attending a site visit on August 12th, I am in support of the proposal for the addition to the right side of the house as proposed in the drawings dated June 29, 2017. However, I would like to confirm that the applicant's architect has revised the side elevation east, shown on drawing A202 as requested at the previous hearing, as there appeared to be inconsistencies between A202 and the roof plan as drawn on the site plan. So, okay, good, I'm glad you got that.
Mike's exactly right.
Good. I also understand that the septic system is currently being designed and that the final solution may have an impact on the retaining wall design facing the rear of the property. While there is landscape plan to buffer the impact of that wall, I do think you will see a portion of the rear of the property and retaining wall from Pond Street, particularly when it is assumed that some of the existing vegetation will be removed in order to install the new septic system. While this would not hold up my support of the application, I would like to have the opportunity to review the final design of the retaining wall. So I think we talked about that when we were out there at the site visit, that, you know, once you get further along with that, and I think you were pretty clear that you didn't want a lot of cement showing, anyways, that you were comfortable doing some type of stone, you know, veneer or something that would, you got that mass of cement showing even from the Pond Street side. Yeah, okay.
We'll put something together.
Yeah, that'd be,
You all to review.
yeah, and I think that's Mike's major issue too, and I think.
He's right on.
Yeah, okay. All right. Any other questions or comments, Tomas? I know you were out there at the site. You know, others probably know this home pretty well, driving by a lot.
Well, thank you for having us out.
Pleasure.
That's part of the project.
It's-
It makes a lot of sense once you're there and you're looking at it, why you would be interested in something like that. So no, I mean, my biggest, or my thing would really be around the landscaping. And again, back to what Mike was saying as well, in terms of how we might minimize the impact of the retaining wall in the back. And I would be interested in understanding exactly what you would be interested in doing in terms of pavers or stones, stepping stones around and things like that. But that would be it.
Great.
I would prefer something, obviously, that doesn't look brand new. And if that's the only thing you could get, maybe you could incorporate the old ones that you have and mix that in with the new as that gets laid in.
I think we could, yeah.
I don't know if we should bring Nancy up to speak to these issues, but
I know you spent some time talking with Nancy, too.
I mentioned it to Nancy,
Yeah.
too, and
You can
yeah.
buy old bricks for the brick walkways,
Can
or...
mic, please?
This one? Want to sit way up?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Nancy Mellon, Garden Design, 182 North Street, Hingham. We can get old bricks to use in the brick walkway, or we can get the reproduction ones that look like they're old, but they are new, and they hold up better. The old bricks tend to split oftentimes due to moisture in the winter, freezing, cool, you know, warming up, that kind of thing. But we certainly can do that. And for the retaining walls, whether we can terrace it or have one wall, depends on the septic. And we would prefer terracing. But whatever it is, it will be totally covered with shrubbery. So you won't see it.
So I would be in favor of the project as it stands. Maybe we could look at a landscaping plan later on when we're further along in the process, and sort of understand the scale of the whole thing at that point. What we would be interested in doing in terms of the actual final plantings and the pavers and things like that, and stones at that time.
And all the
That might be a better way
planting
of
is appropriate for
looking at it.
1880 to 1920.
Right.
And all the ones across the front are all salt tolerant for the street, but still, same vintage.
So the house was built in 1910.
Yeah.
Yep.
very
Thank you.
thoughtful. Thank you, Nancy.
The retaining wall, do you have an approximate height from the rear?
I have heard 6 to 8 feet.
Okay,
8 being the way maximum.
right. And then is there a rail on the top of the retaining wall?
Yeah, capped, bluestone cap.
Got it. Okay.
No comment, except sounds good to me.
Thank you.
The fence that was, I think, discussed a little bit at the site visit, is that part of this application, or is that something that you would come back with? You're talking about a white fence that would either match the church or...
Or what I have there already. So, I mean, I think that we could bring that back as part of, the whole
Yeah, landscape.
landscape design.
Okay.
But I think it will be one of the two that I showed you, which
Okay.
should work.
Okay. And Al, I know you're, Andrew's in there making copies, but just roughly on the ridge, the ridge line, where did it come out in terms of the,
It was more accurately depicted on the site plan, so
so is this
This
gonna
came
go-
up,
This
like
comes
you
up?
noted.
Okay.
And that stayed where it was. So this is closer to that.
Okay.
So that, you picked up on that, you picked up on.
So it's a mirror?
We're sorry.
Yeah,
Close.
it's really close.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, Andrew. My apologies, Al.
No, and I should have made copies. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. So it was the difference between 201 and 202, when it was reviewed up here?
Yeah, is that the old?
This is the old one,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep, there was one of the changes, and the other change.
This is the new one.
So this roof comes down.
Okay,
Whereas before it was lining up with that.
I got you.
Drawing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any of the old windows salvageable from on the
So I
side?
went around with a nail and was sticking it in the wood of some of the windows that I'd like to reuse, and so they are,
Okay, so you think you can reuse them?
several.
Okay, great. And the ones that would be new, would that be?
So I don't know how we work that out, but, because we will need some new windows.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
lots of
Sure.
windows. Yeah, but we'll salvage what we can.
Yeah.
And, relocate them appropriately.
So you'll use, how are you gonna match, you're gonna match everything up with the,
Oh, yeah, with sills and heads and widths, they're all,
Okay.
true divided light.
wood, true divided light, mutton sizes to match existing, so is it, I can't remember if it was 5 or 3/4 or 7/8 or, but mutton size to match existing? Okay. Siding to match,
Yep. Trimmed details to match roofing.
roofing to match, okay.
The goal is to make it look like it's always been there.
Right.
Yep, okay. Andrea, the consensus and the applicant would like to come back with a landscaping plan.
Oh, sure.
Once they get further along with the project, that would have some details about the wall, some of the hardscape elements, brickwork, and the fence. So,
Okay. So, what about the building plans?
so these plans show the changes and the questions that we had from last time, particularly A202. Al has moved up the height on the ridge line for the addition. So it now conforms and matches the overhead view.
Okay.
And this roof line here is also, let's see it.
Sorry, what page is that?
This is A202.
Oh, that's A202.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
This where the roof meets the side was raised up, a slight amount.
A foot, I
Yeah.
think was.
As Mike had commented on last time.
He's sharp. Nothing gets by.
And I read Mike's comments while you were out regarding his questions, and he just had those 2 points, basically. Wanted to see the hardscape and the landscape plan as they move further along, and also wanted to see A202 corrected. So I think we have his points addressed. Anything else? Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion for 360 Main Street for this application?
We have, the voting members are
Everyone here?
5.
Oh, excuse me, Ronnie and
Ronnie is-
Tomas, are you?
Neither of them can, so
Okay.
it's the 3 of you.
Okay, so us 3. So, Ben, do you want to do a,
Sure. I'd like to make a motion for .360 Main Street, plans dated August 1st, right? Revised plans dated August 1st.
That was supposed to have been, yeah. Oh, wait, the revised plans.
this is,
When did I send
the
those?
ones we just
Yeah,
got
that's
are
right,
dated.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. For an addition, pages A100, A101, A102, A201, A202, A203, and A204. Let's see, some conditions. Landscaping to be approved as a separate application at a later date.
To be submitted, yeah, at a later date
Um,
and reviewed.
Yeah. Windows all wood,
True divided light,
true divided, 5/8 Muntin
muttons to match the main house.
to match the existing. Any other conditions?
Siding to match the existing, roof material to match existing. Any lighting that we didn't talk about?
Exterior lighting?
Well, actually, on either side of the platform, I would like some kind of light so, you can see either side.
As part of the landscape plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be part of it.
Okay, okay, yeah, then no.
You can bring that back with the
Okay.
cut sheets and just a description of that. Roof to match existing.
Yes. I think that's it for the conditions. Any fence work will be part of the landscape plan, retaining wall, driveway, plantings, so.
Gutters on the original house are, is that aluminum? I can't remember which.
What's there is aluminum.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want to use aluminum again, or?
So I don't know anything about gutters, but we can,
Yeah, I mean, I
Talk
know it's not
about it.
ideal, but
Okay, if you change that, just let us know. Yeah, if you wanted to replace the aluminum and the other and have fiberglass to match, you could do that.
And painted wood trim, right?
Yep.
Match existing white. Okay?
Yep.
All right, anything else we forgot? Tomas, think we got everything? Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, good.
Yay!
for coming
Thank
in.
you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. It's going to be a wonderful
It will
home.
be such an improvement in
Yeah.
my life.
And-
And now that you approved me, I just want to say that was so beautiful, your necklace.
Oh, thank you. I wish I could say it was a prize and I would give it to you, but
But if you're in the parking lot and it's dark,
Oh, my gosh. We're like 1 for 1.
yeah, I gave it to Sharon. She's got
yes, I
it.
have it.
Oh,
It's all right, don't trip.
see you. I saw you. All right, next up.
Hi, Christie.
Next up, we have Christie Breen's here. This is a continuation, actually, from a couple months ago, correct?
Yes, I finally got someone who could do some stuff for me, I think.
Excellent.
But I still have a few things that,
Yep.
yeah.
Christie's at 536 Main Street. She would like to put an addition off the side of her house on the right. We, just to refresh everybody's memory, we did approve the demolition of the small structure to the side before, and
It's still there, the guy can't come until fall.
okay,
so,
all right.
yeah.
So we got you part of the way there, and she had some initial plans for us going back maybe 6 months or so.
Yeah,
And
and-
we talked about them, and now she's coming back.
Came back. We did a site visit in the snow.
Yep.
I had to shovel up the driveway.
Now she's coming back with some formal plans for us, so thank you.
So,
Good to see you.
good, yeah, good to see you too. The builder and the designer, they want me to ask, is there anything, like, they said PVC everywhere, and I think PVC, disgusting plastic that I wouldn't want in my house. Is there any newer type, like, he said something about AZEC that is allowed as trim that's a little bit, like, he was more concerned about trim on windows that you approve, or is that no? Because I was like, I don't want any plastic on the house, but the AZEC does, I went to Lowe's and it's
Yep.
like, that looks a little bit better, but I didn't know what your opinion was on that.
So we approve pretty much only wood.
Yeah.
If it's a situation where it's near the ground, touching the ground, can be damaged by water,
Yeah.
we will make cases where we do approve
Okay.
composite for that.
For that. So, like, all this where it says PVC, if we want to cross that out and say wood, I'm fine with that too. I just didn't know, I don't think there's any place
Yeah,
that would
yep. So,
meet those.
but on the, like, for instance, on the porch, on the
Yeah.
lower parts of the porch,
Yeah.
that would be, something that's touching the ground there.
Yeah.
That would be a possibility, as long as it matches the wood and it's,
Yeah, the porch actually is going to be like a concrete slab with some pavers on top because it's very
Okay.
low to the ground.
Okay.
And, yeah, it's very tight height-wise to get that
okay.
story in.
And I would say that the posts would need to be wood too.
Yeah, anything I can touch, I want it to feel like wood, because
Okay,
when
okay.
you touch it, it sounds like plastic, if that,
No question.
okay,
So
yeah.
that's just, I'm just keeping with what we do.
Yeah.
And how we review properties, so.
Yeah, so
Okay.
everywhere that it says PVC, I just didn't get him to change all of that then, but we'll get that it'll all be wood. The only question I would have regarding that is we do need to replace those basement windows in the existing structure. And the builder was like, if you replace that with new growth wood, it's going to rot in 10, 15 years, you're going to have to replace it again. So I didn't know what you thought about that.
Which windows are you referring to specifically?
Okay, so this is the existing house.
Yep.
This window is
Yep.
in the worst shape. This one is boarded up, and there's one on the side that's boarded up. And the sill is rotted, it needs to be replaced. And really, it's just that bottom sill, like, you can put a storm over the rest of it and sort of protect it, but that bottom sill is gonna, the builder he said, well, can we use something, because it will probably rot
Yep.
in another 10, 15 years. So I didn't know what you thought about that as possibly something.
Yeah. Ben, what do you,
Generally cedar, which
Cedar?
which gets either primed all exposed sides before it gets put in,
Okay. I'll write that down.
or we'll use an epoxy coating.
Okay. So cedar and epoxy coating.
So certainly priming anything exposed before it goes in. When I mean exposed, those areas that will no longer be exposed once it's installed. So that would be the areas along the jamb that are tight to the masonry opening,
Okay, so the whole shebang.
right,
prime.
before it goes in,
Okay.
at a minimum. And then sometimes we'll use something called West Systems. It's a marine epoxy.
Yeah, okay, that's not system.
It's a two-part epoxy that you can mix up, and it gives us some additional durability.
Okay.
So your builder can get the sash separate wood, 5/8 Muntin, okay, and then build you
The thing, yeah, because you can get them
a
with Brosco.
jam with a cedar sill. That's typically what we do.
Okay, that's good to know, and I'll just give them, yeah, because I was thinking, there was a bunch of different types, but it seemed like the Brosco single glazed wooden full true divide light was cheapest, and
Okay.
it, at Hingham Lumber, and it seemed to be what we would do. I mean, anything else, it just, yeah, it's fake wood and it was more expensive, so.
Right.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Bennett, that's helpful. Appreciate that.
So that's what we would do that would be the only space that I think would, and if we're doing the poured concrete, there's no other space that I would be a concern with water. So everywhere where it says PVC, I'll say it's got to be wood. So that takes care of a big question there. I think that's easy. And so, yeah, what do you think of the design? I'd love your thoughts.
Open it up to the commission. We've seen a lot of this before. This is
It's kinda
similar
just-
similar to
yeah.
what you had with some
Yes.
tweaks, so.
This appears to be scaled back.
Yeah, well,
Right?
yeah, because, well, one, the bigger it got, it seemed to overwhelm the house a little bit, and certainly the price tag got bigger. So we were like, this is what we need, so let's go with that.
I can read some of the comments from our architect, who's unfortunately not here tonight, so he's got some bullet points for me to read into the record, so I'll do that now. Mike says, "I am in support of demolition of the existing one-story structure to the right side." We have approved that, so we've already know that. No PVC trim is allowed except in limited applications where it may be in contact with the ground, so we covered that. The condition where the stone foundation veneer wraps from the front elevation to the side elevation is unresolved. This should not appear as it is veneer.
Yeah, so the front would be the stone, and then on the side, it's clapboards all the way down. So how do I make it not look veneered, because there's a corner?
I think this is going to be, is it going to be an applied stone foundation? Is that what you're?
So it's the concrete and then the thin cut stone that looks similar to what we did with the porch steps.
Yep.
That matches on the front. And then on the side, it sort of goes, the clapboards basically go all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
So how do you, there's that corner post there. Is that what it's called, the corner board?
The corner board, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you're resolving that transition?
That's really, yeah, so on the side, it goes all the way down, and on the front, it looks like the stone goes there, or would it be more appropriate for the corner to go all the way down with the stone? I don't know, whatever works. We played with the stone going higher and lower, and clapboards all the way down didn't look right.
Yeah.
You use this veneer on the steps that got approved?
Parts of the steps,
Right.
yeah. It's not, the way Monica explained it was, it's not veneer, so most of it was reused, but the steps were wider, so we needed, obviously, some more stone. So on the actual steps, it was just stone that was cut this,
Yeah.
if that's veneer. It was real stone.
Real
from
stone
Plymouth-
that's been
Plymouth
sectioned,
floor,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, does Mike have any recommendations as the architect in his?
He's just said this should not appear as if it is a veneer, so.
Yeah.
So, is there any stone that's going to be demolished? It's going to be,
No, because the way it comes onto the part where it's this concrete going down, so there's no other stone. I wish there was, because I'd totally salvage it.
Yeah.
We have a small pile of what was left over from the porch, but that's barely enough to put a border on a flower bed.
I guess that the issue is just matching, right?
That's tough, like, because even if you do new stone, it might, it's not going to look like 100 years worth of grunge on it,
It could.
It could? How?
Reclaimed stone.
Okay. So, I mean, would it still be a veneer tile? Like, because you'd want it cut, because they still pour the concrete foundation and do, or was he more concerned that the side, because it'll be thin, will look?
Yeah, I think he's probably trying to match the existing as best possible. But, he's not offering a solution here, unfortunately.
I know. The other idea we toyed around with, you could keep that going around the porch, going around that same level, so it does look like stone going around. But then it starts to look a little weird with the windows and the doors being cut a little bit.
Yeah, maybe there's some plantings that can be put up in the front to soften it or minimize any.
Oh, so right here, and I made a big deal about this, so the bed goes up to about here, there's a lilac bush, and we want that not disturbed as much as possible. So I'm sorry, it keeps falling down. So around here, there's a lilac bush, and we have a flower bed now that would sort of come out to here, and yeah, we'd put some more, we want something there. Takes a little while to grow, but.
So maybe that can get us halfway there.
Yeah.
So would the commission ever consider just the concrete? After all, this is an addition, and we like to show the natural progression of the property.
Yeah.
The
How much
concrete
is-
looks ugly, though.
Yeah, how much is going to be exposed there? do you
Okay,
think?
so this shows a pretty good approximation of the grading. And we could bring the clapboards down a little bit lower. But right here, it's going to be pretty, like up here, it's pretty high.
Well, that'd-
Probably about 3 feet up from the basement level, and then it slopes down. We could even do, and it will look better with some bushes in front of it, but you know how you could have it staggered a little bit, so you have more clapboards going down. I just don't like concrete exposed, because
Right.
that's ugly.
Why not do all clapboards down? Is there a problem with that?
When we did it that way, it looked a little like too much clapboards to me, but, it's this part, and also it'd have to be sort of a staggered thing and a little bit of concrete because of the way the grading goes. We could do
Right.
something like that, and with some bush, when you first look at it bare like this, it always looks a little more stark than it would with some greenery, some bushes and plantings and stuff.
But would that be better than faux
Yeah.
stone, in a sense?
Well, it is real stone, but it does.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm going to sketch a little bit and see. So we'd have the clapboards, but like close to the ground, at least, 6 inches or so, it's going to be the concrete because the wood would be
Right.
a mess.
Right.
What about some brick? Do you have any brick around?
Well, there's no brick on it's that stone foundation.
How about any walkways or?
Right now, we just have some slate pavers.
That tallest point doesn't look like it's taller than 4 feet.
Right here?
Yeah, on the end there?
Yeah, right here, it's probably closer to 4 feet from the basement level. I'm trying to think, maybe when the front pictures, because it goes down now.
The grade may not be accurate here, is I think what you're saying.
It may not, yeah,
You're going to
'cause
have more
it-
exposed than what we're
I hope
seeing here.
less exposed, to be honest.
Well, if I go to the side elevation here, the right side elevation, and I look at where that windowsill is,
Yeah.
consider where a windowsill is when you're walking in front of it.
Yeah,
The stone is, in this picture, 3 or 4 feet high.
yes.
At that tallest point.
Right, yes, you're right about that. And some of that on the side closer to the house, it'll be,
So I don't think you're going to have that much concrete showing, and what you could do is hide that with some landscaping. My concern is if you put the stone on here, you're going to try so hard to make it match, you're not going to
it'll
get it
look
to
awful.
match. Right.
Yeah, that was my fear, is that you can't, it's very hard to make it look good. You're right.
And generally, the commission, well, I'm not going to speak for the other commission members, but it has been said in the past that we like to see the natural progression of the house.
So you're okay with,
So-
yeah,
Personally, I'm okay with no stone veneer,
okay. And maybe bring the clapboards down as low as we can without it getting,
or maybe not. I
Yeah.
don't think you have that much concrete showing there.
okay.
Certainly not enough concrete there that couldn't be hidden with some
Some bushes.
artful landscaping.
I'd say let's try to get the clapboards down as low as we can, without it being on the ground, and then, yeah, so it'd just be clapboards. It'd probably only get 6 inches lower, and then let's do some bushes. One, it's easier, it's simpler, I don't have to worry about.
Doesn't cost as much either. You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. And, yeah, certainly a bush is a lot, better. Yeah, that would be great. I'm fine with that. If it does end up, at least on this side, being a bit much, staggering it with some more clapboards down there, is that something you think would be tacky? You'd rather see the concrete?
I think it's a little funky.
Yeah, I mean, it's funky, but I don't know, if concrete's easy, so I'm good with concrete if you are.
As low as the clapboards can go.
Yeah.
With some consistency.
Well, also another thing is if we do a little bit of grading against the wall, make this just the tiniest bit higher so there's not going in it's not sloping in towards the house, because we don't want that anyway.
But I think Ben might be right, that whatever concrete there is.
It won't be
can
that
be
bad.
shielded by landscape.
That would be great. That would
Bring clapboards down.
bring clapboards
To the
down.
extent that is respectable,
Yes.
so to speak. What an architectural term. And then,
That's awesome.
whatever the concrete is, can be shielded by the landscape.
We'll plant some bushes, and there we go. Yeah, that's the easy, keep it simple.
Mr. Chairman, may I say that if you are not happy with the end result after all is said and done, then.
Yeah, I guess,
we
we can always put it on later if we,
Or another
or
type of
ask.
treatment.
And,
If you,
I mean, maybe you get lucky and you find some stone that looks appropriate,
Yeah.
but who knows?
It's,
I think
If you
this
do-
is a
it's
great
hard.
solution.
Like, it was really hard, yeah.
If you do, just bring it to us and then we'll take a look.
All right, bring the wheelbarrow in and.
Take a look.
I don't think that'd be a first.
Really? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, okay, concrete it is. That is simple and easy, and get some more lilacs. So,
Okay.
well, they're pretty.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Let's see, entry doors wood?
Yes.
Side, okay, got that. Basement replacement windows are gonna be cedar, right?
The trim cedar and the Brosco wood, single
Yep.
pane.
So you're gonna do that, yep.
Yep.
Either roof edge detail is probably acceptable if vented soffit dimension is kept to a minimum.
Yeah, we want it not to be noticeable that it's different from the main house.
Okay, Ben, do you have any thoughts on the soffit or that detail?
Yeah, I had a couple of, I see in roof edge detail A, is that your preference?
This is drawn the way, so the inside is a cathedral, this is where I'm just repeating what the builder said. Inside is a cathedral ceiling, and so side vents that don't seem to do much anyway aren't really an option for venting that roof. And so he wanted to do a soffit ridge vent, and I really can't tell the difference. I think I would prefer, would prefer B with the slight vented soffit if you think it's not noticeably different. It certainly isn't from the front elevation, I don't
The
think.
projections of the existing soffits on the main house, is there a projection there now, or is it flat? It is
No,
flat.
it's, yeah, so we could,
Okay,
yeah.
because in the drawing, on the right side elevation, there is a soffit
Really?
on the main
Oh,
house.
yeah, that's wrong.
Okay.
I wish we did have one, because it would help with ventilation. 'cause we
Well,
put it on there.
again, it is my opinion, this being an addition, and it's okay if there are some details that are a little bit different. These are things that Chuck has brought up in the past.
Yep.
I don't know if you need to vent it. You talk with your builder. It may not be needed to vent if you're going to use fiberglass insulation, yes, but if you're not, if you're going to use foam, the venting is not necessary.
Okay, so if fiberglass, yes.
And we can certainly give them some flexibility on that, correct?
I would be fine, it being an addition, the overhang can exist there. And what you've drawn, what's been drawn here on A6,
It's tiny.
yes, it's diminutive, so,
Yeah, and Mike's in agreement, he thinks either one could
Okay.
be
Great.
appropriate. The other thing is provide all window sizes. Will the two large windows in the front, this is Mike asking the question, will the two large windows on the front elevation of the addition match the size of the other existing windows on the front of the house? What are the mutton sizes? I suggest they be 5/8, assuming that is also what exists in the existing windows.
So what, I think it's 5/8, I'm not positive, but whatever, I'd want it to match.
So you'll have it match.
Would have it match. The size might be, yeah, because these look a little bit fatter than the existing ones in this drawing. If they're the exact same size, I think they might have been a little bit too big, so I tried to tell them same proportion, maybe like a down a size, if that makes sense.
They
But-
appear to be one size, I'm sorry to interrupt, they
Yeah,
appear to be
please.
one size smaller in height.
Yes, but they should be the same, you know what I mean, like dimension-wise, the width should scale down the same way, and it doesn't look like but I would want them to, they look wider.
Well, it may be as a result of them being shorter.
Yeah, so if they're shorter, I'd want them to be the slightest bit narrower, right? So it's the same dimension.
The aspect ratio of the glass, yeah.
Thank you.
That's certainly something to look at. Personally, I don't have a problem with the existing size. They're about 4 inches shorter than,
Again, this is an addition where you want the proportions are going to change the height
Right.
and the scale of the addition relative to the house, so they'd probably be a little bit different than the main house, correct?
right.
Mike's suggesting that they,
Maybe one size smaller in the width?
well, he's asking if the front elevation, he's asking, will the two large windows in the front elevation of the addition match the size of the other existing on the front of the house?
I would want them,
He's not saying that they should match or should not. He's just questioning what the sizes are. He might be getting at that he wants them to match, but it's hard to tell from what he's writing.
I'm fine with them matching. I think he did have them matching before.
Okay.
And I think I asked him to do it one a little bit smaller, just because there really was, and there still isn't much, there's so much height between the top of this window and this,
Right,
and I
yeah.
didn't want it to be scrunched up there. I mean, obviously, we can't get that much height, but just so it doesn't look like this is all, and then this
Right.
is so big. So I asked him to go down a
Okay.
little bit in the height, but maybe I'd want it the same, just a size in the width smaller too, so it looks the same. Does that make sense?
Yep,
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
This is from a previous
Oh, yeah.
note. The windows match on this drawing here.
Okay.
That way,
Was this a previous,
we never voted on this. This
But he
was
took a
as it
peek,
related
yeah,
to the
yeah.
demolition. Yes.
but on this one, the windows below are larger than this.
Correct, yeah.
And the stonework is dropping down, so, yeah. Maybe that's what Mike was getting at.
Yeah.
I think there'd be a lot of glass and a lot of window if we tried to match the windows.
Yeah, it's-
Don't you? I mean,
Yeah, well, certainly they're just much smaller addition.
and again, it's
So
an addition.
proportional.
The roof's dropping, you've got larger windows below.
So down a size in width and in height, so,
Maybe as you've drawn it here.
okay.
Okay. Those were all the comments that Mike had. And the mutton size on the main house, not sure if it's 5/8 or 3/4 or 7/8, but you'll match.
Yeah, it would have to match. And it would be the Marvin Ultimate Wood
Okay.
simulated divided light with spacer bar that has the wood on it. I think that's the one that, and will it come, like, that's the Marvin that will match, right? I think isn't that it's this double glazed ultimate wood, both sides.
I'm getting confused, I thought I heard Brosco earlier.
Okay, so Brosco is for the basement, the
Okay,
single
just the
glazed
sash
one.
in the basement, all right.
We get into, with the basement windows, since they're replacement, we don't have to worry about energy stuff,
Right.
but I think when we do the addition, you have to do all the energy stuff, and so the Marvin double glazed is what meets because I know there's energy things.
Well, because you're in a historic district, you get,
Do we get a little leeway? Because it
Yes.
sounded like, I looked everywhere and half of them, so we do get a little leeway with that.
Well, you can get the same rating, can't you, Ben, with using a storm?
The Hingham lumber guys are like, well, yeah, but no one's going to certify it with a storm window. I was like,
Oh,
really?
gee whiz.
I know, I just want my house not to be drafty. that's all I ask. But they make it so it's,
So in the historic district, the energy code as it relates to the windows, there's no jurisdiction for energy code in the historic district as it relates to your windows.
okay. How about like for the roof and I mean, like what, like I was, because the next step is building permit, and that's what the builder's like, well, there's all these new code changes with energy, and you
Right.
have to do special.
Right, so you could talk to the building official about what their requirements will be in the roof.
Okay.
That's outside our jurisdiction.
But that isn't anything that can be seen, because they do it all underneath and inside.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's okay.
So that, your builder could discuss that directly with the building commissioner.
Okay.
You mentioned a Marvin, and then I heard simulated divided light?
Yeah, so it's the simulated, I was looking, they have so many different types, but it was the one with the wood on the inside and outside.
Right.
I think I wrote down what it was. The one on the inside and the outside, simulated divided light with the spacer bar, with the double glazed. Yeah, so it was called the Marvin Ultimate Wood. Is that what normally people do on additions? That was the only thing I could find.
That's a nice window, and
It's
we have
allowed
passed,
in
we have passed that one, we have
Okay.
passed that before.
That seems like nice, because it's energy efficient, and you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about the storm windows that,
Right.
yeah,
Correct.
You can
detract
do that
from
on
the...
new additions.
Okay, so if that's all right with you, that's what I mean, unless there's something else that expensive. Is there anything else that might be a little more cost-effective that is,
That's a good
looks
window.
good?
That's a good window.
Yeah.
It is a good window.
Yeah,
There are other manufacturers,
okay,
certainly.
like, yeah. That was the only one that I could find wood on the outside.
That comes with a 7/8, does it not?
I think you're right, Thomas.
It only comes with...
Because it's a simulated divided
Yeah, it only
light.
comes with the 7/8.
I think that is what we
Yeah.
discovered.
But we have allowed that in the past on new constructions and additions.
Check check the mutton size on the main house.
Okay,
So, if they're 3/4, it's pretty close. But, the other route you could go is you could go on the front facade, you could go with, a different window.
And the
a true-
side?
A true divided light window,
okay.
perhaps.
Just so it matches the front other windows.
Yep, with the same mutton size. And you might, you have to do storms then, probably.
Yeah.
And then,
Or an energy panel?
Yep,
Has that been approved?
yep.
Okay.
So would you be all right with that on the side, which you can see from the street, but it's not as direct? That could be a different one that is,
You could use the ultimate on
Yep.
on the side.
I'm just,
The man in the audience.
oh,
I just wondered how many storm windows.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
and if you could just tell us your name and where you live.
Norman Fulton, 540 Main Street, Norman Fulton. I just wondered how many storm windows were used in the 1800s.
not the ugly ones that I have on my house.
Not many.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The other question would be whether or not a double glazed window with just a 5/8 bar in between the glass
Yep.
would give the appearance near enough.
It certainly would, except that I don't know if there's a manufacturer that does a 5/8 with a spacer bar. We did some work on trying to find a window about a year or two ago for somebody. And I think it's a construction issue and having it as stable as possible. So they like to have, when you're dealing with double pane, trying to make it energy efficient with a spacer bar, the manufacturers like to make it, the muttons as thick as possible in order for it to be a stabler window. Ben, is that kind of what you've found?
That is what we found, yes.
I think there are some custom window options where maybe you can get around that. They get really
Like it's-
expensive,
yeah.
though.
It seems like there would have to be somebody smart enough to be able to make it work where we want the energy
Right.
efficiency plus the look.
So the way the manufacturer has explained it to me is, we are a very small market, and it's hard for them to manufacture a window and that they would then sell across their market and get enough buyers. So it
People with
becomes
the
a
ugly
custom
plastic
option
stuff
for
that's-
them.
Right.
Yeah,
Or custom wood.
yeah.
Thank you
which-
very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fulton.
But
Yeah.
But the Brosco, I know that there's a 5/8 there, if you do have a 5/8, that will match all the way around.
And it may be, so you just measure the two sides, like the middle, like with a ruler, right? And just
The mutton?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
mutton. So it may be.
The width of it.
Yeah, it may be 3/4, I just don't know.
Could be.
Yeah, 3/4, 5/8, I can't really tell the, so what do we do there? So, yeah, so where do we go from there? If it's 7/8, we're great. If it's 5/8, what do we do?
I think what we can do is we can approve a window to match the existing,
Okay,
and then if you need to make a change on that, you can come back to us. We can do
Alright.
something like that.
all right,
I mean, and we can just word it, to match existing.
okay.
And if you wanted to go with a simulated divided light window and you found a 5/8, if you have 5/8, terrific.
Okay, so it has to match existing or be the simulated divided light with 5/8.
Yeah, so we could say, we could word it saying, a window to be a simulated or true divided light wood window to match existing muttons on the main house. And if you need to make a change to that, just, come back to us and let us know
Okay.
what you found in your research and your options, or where you'd like to go from there, if it's different than that. But you should have some options with some other manufacturers if it's a 5/8. It might not be a Marvin.
Okay, yeah.
But I think a Marvin might make a 5/8. True divided light would, I believe.
They make a true divided or authentic divided light
Okay.
5/8.
But again, it's going to be a storm or an energy
Yeah,
panel.
it's a single pane.
It's a single pane,
yeah.
so, yeah, with
Right.
that. Because what I'd want, if I'm getting that much of a window, I want one with the energy efficiency too, if you're investing that much.
There's a brand called Colby. We've had some good results with Colby with a K,
Colby, Kolby?
Kolbe.
Oh, BE, okay.
Another manufacturer, Green Mountain Window, may have something. They're out of Vermont. And again, they're coming out with new products all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Hingham Lumber. And
Right.
That's what they,
Yeah.
here's the Marvins, this is what you get, this is what you can get, that or the Brosco is what they told me, so,
No, I think there's other alternatives.
okay.
Yeah. But you do want to match as much, because that will, even from a distance. you'll be
Distance,
able
you
to
can
see.
tell, like, that it looks a little different. Silly question. So, you know how it's sort of grooved, the muttons? Is that sort of a standard?
It's an
that they do?
an OG cut, yeah.
Okay, and
typically.
is that, and is that something that most of the places do? Because even some of the Marvins look like they're pretty flat compared to
Yeah.
some of the other stuff, just when I was looking.
I think when they're a wood, I think they're all cut the same way. The ones that are flat are the ones that have,
A synthetic or...
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Synthetic, okay, all right, that's good to know. All right, so I have some more research on windows to do. First of all, I need to measure it.
Yeah, but we can get you going, though.
Okay,
We can get you going. You come back if there's a change. I mean, that's what I would recommend.
okay.
Any other questions? Thoughts, Tomas? Good? Okay.
I think you asked all your questions.
Well, I do, okay, so I have an
Every-
opinion,
everything.
I need some eyes, because I'm not thrilled with the side. I know you're gonna be- But do you think this looks all right with these windows? Do you feel they're too flat and fat, or short? They look good? They look,
Yeah.
they're
I
fine?
think it's very appropriate for that house.
Okay, all right.
And-
And the bottom one's an okay size, too? It doesn't need to match? Okay.
I think it's very appropriate.
Okay, good. Because I started playing around with that, and I could probably drive my husband crazy.
The only question I have is, the posts,
The posts would be wood.
are they square?
I would do 6-inch square, no base, no capital, just
Okay.
a nice, simple.
So these are wrapped in wood, these posts?
No, I don't think
You're
we
going
do.
to just have something exposed?
Well, so if you're not, so I know they put PVC wrapped metal posts. Can you stick a wrap wood around a metal thing, and would you do that?
Well, typically, it wouldn't be necessarily a metal post, typically.
Okay.
Is that what you'd like, metal posts?
Oh, I want something that'll hold the roof of the porch up, and it can
Okay.
be wood. It's like, yeah, it's all good. Yeah, that, he just put, what was it, the PVC wrapped,
Oh, he does have a PVC wrap on.
yeah, and so if it's not gonna be PVC, then I would do a good old-fashioned wood,
Okay.
6-inch, right? That's
Why
what
not red cedar?
well, it's gonna be painted anyway, right? But whatever. But, whatever is
And it's in contact, this is going to be a slab here?
a concrete slab, yes. What?
So does the commission have an opinion on wood in contact with the slab? Is there anything in particular?
Would the board consider fiberglass there?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be wet down in there on top of that surface.
And plus with no base and no
Yeah, I think, fiberglass in that situation might be,
Okay, so tell them fiberglass on the posts?
that's my thinking on it.
So you can get a structural fiberglass post.
Okay. And it looks just like wood, does it feel like wood?
Feel like wood. I guess once
It's
painted,
paintable.
once painted,
When it's painted?
it's going to be you would paint it, you wouldn't want to leave it.
Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna paint it when we paint the
Yeah.
house, so.
But if these were existing, were part of the original house, that we wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
Right.
It's just one thing about these fiberglass posts is typically they come with a capital and a base. I've never seen one without a capital and a base.
Okay. Well, if we did one, it would have to be like the simplest thing we could get.
Right.
Like, just tiny little,
Capital on the base means?
Capital and a base. It comes with a decorative
little
top
thing,
and
yeah,
bottom.
no scrolls. I'm just,
Right.
I just want I'd want the tiniest little, or does it go,
But you can get PVC at the base and then wood
yeah.
for posts, which,
That's definitely another option you could do if you do a base, which I think Ben is recommending.
So.
Well, he says that
what's
fiberglass
been-
doesn't have a base, so it kind of.
What's certainly been done before is you'd have your frame, which is pressure treated.
Yep, okay.
And then it gets wrapped in a wood. It could be cedar, it could be even the pine. I don't recommend the pine.
Okay.
But then you could put a base on it, and the base, I believe the commission has approved a PVC base before. And when I mean a base, it's more like a baseboard molding. So it's
Yeah,
a
like it
flat
goes
stock,
around.
and it has a decorative top to it. And that is PVC,
Okay.
and you can adhere that to the bottom of the
Bottom part.
post, silicone around the top so water doesn't get in.
Yeah, because I was going to say, will that help, or does it rot underneath?
Right.
Okay.
Sounds like a good solution, Ben.
And then that wood doesn't have to come in contact with the concrete. It's actually up a little bit off the concrete. It's the PVC base
That goes
that's in
down.
concrete.
Okay.
That's in touch with the concrete and
And it's
fooling
just the tiniest little thing that would
very,
go out?
very small
Okay.
detail. Yeah, and your builder could do some very quick mock-ups for you to show you any kind of decorative top to the base.
Yeah, so just kind of like it's the tiniest little square.
Yes.
Like coming out.
Exactly.
And like maybe up 6 inches, or how high?
In terms of proportions, 6 may work, could be as much as 8.5, 9.
8?
It's hard to say because
Yeah.
of the scale.
Okay. Yeah. Would you prefer the base or fiberglass post? Like either, or I don't, for a, just a
I just think
square
your builder, it's more difficult for him to do fiberglass and then come up with some alternative base and cap.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
I think he will prefer to want to wrap it in wood and then do a PVC base, but you could certainly give him that option.
Okay.
And you're recommending capital as well.
Well, I think you wanted something clean
Okay.
at the
Yeah,
top.
something
You
clean
didn't
at the
want a
top.
capital.
I didn't want a capital unless you felt like it
Yeah.
needed one, so. Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
I think that is it. I don't, you're fine with the shed on the back and everything else that,
No, it looks
All right.
good, Christie.
okay. All right, so I've got no, only PVC will be the little base there. We're gonna do clapboards down as far as we can, then concrete up, and we're gonna plant the bush, and,
Any exterior lighting?
there'll be an onion lamp. There's an onion lamp in the front.
Okay, so you're
we're
gonna
do an-
match that?
In fact, we have the one that fell off the
Okay.
existing structure that will probably stick back on, because reuse. So,
Great.
yeah, besides that,
Okay. Tomas, can I ask you to help with a motion on this at this point?
Yeah, I will try.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll help you out.
So, would like to make a motion for a certificate of appropriateness for 536 Main Street for a two-story addition to the right side of the house, as well as some window replacements in the lower portion of the existing house. Those replacements would be with cedar casings, correct?
cedar casings.
Cedar sill?
Yeah, cedar sill.
Yeah, cedar jam and sill.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then wood sashes, right?
Yeah, Brosco wood sash, or there are other manufacturers that
So,
make
or
it.
similar wood, single
And that'll be a
glazed.
5/8 mutton, or,
5/8 mutton, or
And then,
whatever matches.
In the new portion, we would approve the foundation to be exposed, so no veneer would be necessary. We would also windows to match existing windows in terms of mutton bars and wood windows. Otherwise, please let us know.
Windows to be true divided light or simulated divided light with mutton size to match existing house.
Yep.
If a change to the mutton size needs to be made, applicant will come back with proposed changes.
And then all of the trim that is on the drawing that's listed as PVC should be wood. The post on the overhang would be a 6-inch square cedar post with a PVC base. Is there anything else?
Siding to match existing house, roofing to match
Match existing house.
existing, color to match existing.
The roof will match the new roof that we're going to replace the old roof with, because
Okay.
And Ben, which roof detail did we,
E, wasn't it the one with the
That's
slight
B?
overhang?
I think you wanted to put an eave on there. You would prefer an eave?
A little bit, just,
so
Okay.
A6, so roof detail B?
and we wanted these windows to be slightly smaller than the existing ones, or the same size as the existing ones? Because I just want to make sure I tell
Unset is drawn.
Windows as drawn.
windows as drawn, which is a little bit shorter, but still the same width. Okay, as drawn. All right.
You said the magic word, which is the
Oh, well, the aspect ratio,
glass.
sure.
Would you want the aspect ratio to be the same as the one, just smaller?
But because we can see it as drawn, and the board is amenable to it, I think we should probably stick with what we have in front of us.
Okay, all right.
And it's less work for you.
All right, all right. Sounds good.
Okay, anything else we missed? Andrea, I think we're, okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right,
All
thanks,
right, thank
Christie.
you so much.
Okay, good luck.
Thanks. Thank
You
you.
know, it's, you, all the time that you put into this is gonna pay off, because you didn't go with, like, kind of looked at different drawings, you looked at it over, like, what, a year?
Yeah, and
So it's gonna be a better outcome
I
for
hope
you.
so, because now the hard part, I have to get everything moved out, I got to get,
Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with everything. Okay, sorry for the delay. Good to see you. Here we have 27 School Street. Lisa and Heidi are here. Right? Great to see you.
And just want everyone to know, this is what you use for also if he walks in, he's
Yep.
not late, he just has to make sure he goes to the permanent floor.
Yeah, no problem. All right, that's fine. So thank you for having us out last weekend.
Thank you for coming out. I really appreciate you coming prior to the hearing.
Yeah, no, just trying to, it's better for us so we can understand the, what your plans are and the scope of the project, so it's good. So, take it away.
So just to recap from our site visit, and I'm sorry, Ben, that I couldn't
Yeah.
introduce you to the house.
I did drive by.
Oh, great.
I was there. You may have seen me stalking, and I
No,
apologize.
I did not, but, and I do have more photos. But the house is on School Street. It's a beautiful classic home. I think you all have the details, but I did make Xeroxes of kind of the history of the Form Bs, which I found very helpful. So as you'll see, and I think I have 4 of each of them. My machine is on. You know, on these, when the front kind of deck and that decorative entrance, that was actually put on in 1995 at the front of the house. And then, so this detail here is not old. That was added in 1995. This kind of funky deck was 1995. And then the large 2-story bay addition was 1996. And so, this shows in 1989, none of that was there, and this was 81, also was not there. So one of the things we thought would really improve the front, we're proposing a covered porch to wrap the front, and in my mind, that's really going to kind of quiet down the 2-story bay, which to me is kind of out of proportion, but the house really needs the space, so we're not touching it. But wrapping that porch just with a classic shed will kind of make that deck disappear, because the deck is not historic. It's just an odd deck on the front of the house. So that's the first addition we're proposing. The post will be 9 by 9, matching existing. And then we have an addition in the rear, which you can really only do when you're walking kind of southwest. And we're basically taking what's there now, which is a gable with a shed roof, and just pulling it 5 feet forward. And I am dropping the gable. The gable that will be on this portion of the house will be 6 inches below the main house. So the main house gable will always be the primary, the highest point, that ridge. And it's currently a mudroom and a powder room. It's still going to be a mudroom and a powder room. And that kind of 1-story portion of the house was an addition at some point. It has a concrete foundation. It actually has clad windows. And then on the barn, we are proposing just 2 shed dormers on the 2 long sides of the gable. There are currently stairs going up the one side that we looked at when we were there. They're kind of in reverse. They're steeper than the riser is steeper than the tread, so they're not to code. And we really want to use the space above. So adding these 2 shed dormers symmetrically, I'm actually able to get up there with new stairs that are R2 code, and then we can use that space. So we just try to keep it simple and classic. We did propose a double hung on the 2nd floor looking towards the street. And then the only other thing that you can really see that we're doing on this side elevation, which we all viewed when you're walking kind of east up School Street, there's a very blank wall in the back, and only 5 feet of it is an addition. We believe the rest is original. When we were looking at the foundation, it had that nice solid granite foundation. It's a completely blank wall here because that's where the back stair is, and there's 1 clad window in that 5-foot addition. And that 1 window is smaller than the original windows that are still here that are wood in this protrusion and in the formal stairwell. So that's kind of it of what we're proposing. And I have more pictures if anyone would like to see. This is a series of the existing. Some are in your packet. And then we were just looking at images, I believe, is this on High Street when you're going
I
towards
believe that
Windmill?
I think Greg said that was Ward Street. He was pulling some photos from an existing house when we were looking at the listings in Hingham for sale. And we discovered there was, I believe that he said it was Ward Street, that there was a house with a porch similar to the style we're looking to achieve with ours.
Basement windows, we're just proposing the shed, and we're not changing our door, so if those are helpful.
Where's this one? Do you know?
That is,
For sale, isn't it?
that is for sale, and do you know the Red Store on Main Street?
Yep.
I believe that is to the right of the Red Store. It is currently for sale as well.
It faces store, it's to the left.
To the left, I'm sorry.
You're exactly
Okay.
right.
Is that in
That's
the-
where it is.
Is that in the district?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, it's not.
Not, yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yep, okay. Okay.
This one, I believe, this is Main Street. Is that Levitt Street or Main?
This is Levitt Street. This is behind, so if I look across my baseball field through the cemetery, it's on that portion of Levitt Street which curves around.
And this was one example where we found 3 consecutive windows on the rear kind of structure of the home.
Okay. Thanks for sharing these.
Same thing. Okay.
That's Levitt,
That's the Levitt Street house, is it?
I think that's a fair.
I think these are the Catfish ones. And this is,
oh, it's not.
no.
Is that Levitt Street?
And
It
it's,
is Levitt Street, it's just not
it's
my
just-
district.
the district on Levitt Street, it starts at 51,
Okay.
and then all the way up.
So this is the one near, is that the old?
That's the one near the, what is that store called?
Cracker Barrel?
No. No, whatever it is. I guess so.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we know in that.
Yeah, so they were helpful
Thank
for
you.
us.
Yes.
To kind of visualize what those additions would look like.
Yep, good. All right, doesn't look like anybody's here from the audience, so let's open up the discussion. And maybe what we can do is we'll start with the house part, and then we'll talk about the barn second. So let's talk about any questions on the house, comments?
I have some questions.
Sure.
Heidi, tell us about the window construction, what your proposal is. Is that in front of me?
We're either going to do the Colby or the Marvin wood window insulated glass with the simulated divided light. These are 7/8. They're all 2/2. Right now, the house is a complete mix of original windows, of older windows with some storms, and then in the rear, they're the clad. But anything that we can see, we will do, match existing, doing the wood insulated glass from either one of those companies.
Okay.
We're going to competitively bid the two against each other.
Now, are there historic sills on the existing?
I'm going to spec them.
Okay.
I just think it looks better, especially when you have the 2/2. You need that chunky historic sill. It looks a lot better.
And so your columns that have the shadow box to match the existing?
To match the existing.
The recess?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a very simple post now, and we're just going to match it.
And are you asking the commission to vote on option A or option B? Is there a preference for the?
Yes. We really wanted your opinion it's just the railing. We prefer having no railing facing the street, just like the picture we sent. We are going to need railing on the side because of the drop. It's more than 30 inches on the driveway side.
Okay.
So we are going to just do simple wood railing, square, balusters, very traditional, but we would prefer not to have it on the front. We just think it's quieter not having that railing, and I don't need it. It's less than 30-inch drop. And to me, the railing that's there now looks kind of squat.
And your proposal is the railing then that you do have on the side would be wood?
It's going to be wood. I'll have a 2-inch by 2-inch baluster and just a traditional handrail.
Are there other rails on the house to match?
Not exist, well, there's,
I believe
There is one in the back, right?
there's one in the back.
And there's some in the
yes.
front, right?
And there's
here.
one to the right of the, so if I walk up onto the porch, to
So
the,
if that one.
To the right,
will match-
yeah.
right, there's
or
just a
matches
small
what's
rail.
back here?
Right.
There is one
so it
here
would
that's
just match
existing.
what's
does
currently
these
there
two
on the
match?
other side, with
Great.
no rail in the front.
We can match them, yes.
Do you know if they do?
Well, this is new. That's not there right now. So that's, you're looking,
Existing rail?
it should be, oh, so there is some, but I'm going to have to extend it. So there's this rail.
Yeah.
That's an existing rail.
Okay.
So as is that. So yeah, that's, I'm sorry, yeah, that is the side, and that's not moving.
You can pass
That's
that,
staying.
pass that down to Tomas. That's a good view of,
So this
What's
is the
there?
back. So I was mistaken. Your picture, my elevation is showing that, and that's not moving. That's staying. And that's all wood. These windows are clad, because this is
Right.
where the 5-foot addition is, and that's that blank wall that we're adding windows to.
And how many windows are going in there? Is it 6?
Yes.
Okay. So it'll be the whole wall will be windows.
No, if you have the elevation, we separated them. Just one elevation.
A2-1,
Thank you.
and towards the front of the packet.
Oh, right here, so it's 3.
There, yeah. So right now, there's only one here. So this is completely blank.
Okay.
And the one that is currently there is very small. It's above counter height.
Right, you can see
Yeah, so it's in that corner.
Heidi, how about the roofing? Are you going to do is this a 3-tab or a roll? It looks like it's maybe a 3-tab?
We're going to do a 3-tab. I'm not going to do a roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll do, not an architectural, you'll do a 3-tab to match?
Yeah, we'll match existing, because
Yeah.
we're only putting new roof on the back.
Right.
So I just wanted to blend.
Okay. Well, roof on the front too for the porch.
Yeah, and that will match.
Okay. Those are all my questions.
Good, thank you. Good.
I certainly appreciate what you want to do. I can't accept it in terms of the existing house. I think the existing house is simple. I mean, it's obviously been aggrandized, but I think this, to my thing, over-aggrandizes the original house. And that's my opposition. Not any of the details, not your desire, not anything like that, but just in terms of what you want to do in light of the original house. I can't accept it.
Well, what portion? Is it the porch, or is it the addition in the back? Or is it the windows? Because our goal actually with the porch, we had it at the end, was to really try and hide the bay, which I think is out of proportion with the original home.
Yeah. No, I think the porch is more than the original house might say, I accept, in a sense. I think probably, and I'm looking at it in terms, I mean, there's a lot here.
Yes.
There's really a lot, and I do appreciate it. Please know, I appreciate what you want to do, which is different than accepting it. But I think particularly the porch in terms of the facade, to start, yeah. The shed dormers,
Is the shed dormer, we're matching an existing shed dormer.
Uh-huh.
So on the house currently, you can see it here. There is a shed dormer. It's right
Oh, yeah,
in this
yeah.
corner.
Yeah, sure, okay.
And so I think before this was put in 1995, I think that ran the length
Uh-huh,
there.
uh-huh.
So that's why we chose the shed dormer on the opposite side to appear that an existing, detail was continued.
I see, sure.
And then on the opposite elevation, we just didn't touch. So like this is an existing gable. And
Yeah, right.
We didn't touch those.
Yeah, yeah.
That was there. So the
Yeah.
only reason why we chose the shed was to continue a detail that was on that side.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, I think what you've inherited is a lot of additional details to a
Yes.
very simple house. Yeah,
And so we really tried to mimic the simpler details.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And that, in still getting the additional space the family needs.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for having us out on Saturday. I don't really have an issue with the porch in the front. I was looking at other houses, and not too long ago, the commission approved a similar porch to a house on Middle Street, 45 Middle Street, that was added on. I think you're right, Heidi, to a big extent it would hide the big mass on the side, and I like that. I do like, of the two options, I do like option A, the first one without the railing. I think with the railing it just becomes a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was I actually thought it was quieter not having railing.
I
on the front
completely
of the
agree.
home.
I completely agree. And I also don't mind the shed dormer in the back, the way it is. My concern is all the windows in the kitchen. When I look at it, that's a lot of windows. And I would probably be, or I know I would be much more open to a simpler version of windows in the kitchen. Whether or not that's one row of 3 windows, or whether or not it could be 2 rows of 2 windows, maybe. That's how I feel. In addition, the windows in the kitchen, you made them the same height as all the other windows in the house?
Right now, they're the same height as the
Existing windows.
No, it's higher. The current window here is higher.
Okay.
Because it's above the counter.
Right?
But it's very small in proportion. If you look,
So would it be possible to maybe make the windows,
I can do that, but then they won't be the same size as this. So I was thinking, like, if you look here,
Yeah.
that window is
Yeah.
higher than this, but you can't tell because of the jaws. So I was thinking,
Okay,
see
down here,
how high
yeah.
that one is? So in my mind, I was thinking if these windows are a little bit higher than these, but the same actual length, there'll be a kind of proportionality. So it's the same window, it's just a little bit higher.
Okay.
Which is what bothers me about this little window. It's higher, but it's so small on a blank wall, it's out of proportion.
right?
So our goal was, if we keep the same size window and just jump it, that's 6 inches, is that going to be, I thought that would be less noticeable because it's the same size window. Then I would have to have a smaller window if I held the head height because I have the kitchen counter there.
Right.
So it would be a shorter window.
But what happens inside?
There's much more ceiling height.
Oh,
Already.
in that portion
In that
of it?
portion of the house.
Okay.
So that was my thinking. I think we would definitely be amenable to one side smaller if you want the head height, but it will be a shorter window than all the other first floor windows.
Correct, which would just be shown in the bottom, but not in the
Exactly.
top, right? Right.
And there'll still be 2 over 2
I would be interested in what the rest of the commission,
that are higher, the head height
what
is
their opinion
higher
would be.
than the rest of the house.
The kitchen windows.
The new proposed windows for where the back is.
The new proposed windows in the back are the same size as the existing windows.
Okay.
Is it this one?
Yes.
Sorry, everyone, I apologize, I just
So
wrapped this around a
just,
little bit late.
Greg, what we're talking about, we raised this to match what's there now.
Okay.
But I had this window the same size as all the windows on the first floor. So in my mind, yes, it's higher, but this proportion, the window's exactly the same size. So,
The one thing to note, I think, about that is because it's a front-facing elevation, right? You're looking at this elevation straight on. From the street, this gable is actually popped out about
yeah, this is pulled
3 or
forward.
4 feet. So I think that from a perspective standpoint, I don't know, I guess I just don't know what that does to uniformity, if that's the goal.
Because actually, you can't tell now, looking at the pictures, that one window is higher. So this window, this is actually the best one to look at. If you followed this line, it's like a foot higher than that window now. So like that clapboard is that much higher than the window that's behind the shrub. So that was just my thinking, that keeping the same size, because in a historic home, all the windows on the first floor are typically the same size in kind of a classic home. And the only reason, like the existing window is higher because of the functionality of the countertop being there. And so I was trying to,
Is the counter run the whole length?
yes.
On the other side. Is it, and the other side of the kitchen is 2 and 2 on the other? Just in balancing it off on the other side that you're not adjusting.
That's the mudroom, so.
That's a mudroom.
Oh, okay.
And they're all, it's just a bank of windows. And it's
Yeah.
four windows across that side of the
Right
house.
now, this is what's there now on the opposite side.
Oh, okay,
It's
yep.
still, it's mudroom and powder room, and we're proposing mudroom. But we are doing, banks of 2 together on that side.
Oh, you would be,
Elevation. So those, yeah,
these two
Yeah.
would be,
they're in this current wall.
and the reason, besides you would like 2 doubles, is there a,
So they're changing those windows.
an architectural reason for it, Heidi?
For which one?
For replacing these as single
We just
with
wanted more
doubles?
light, but I think, would you be amenable to keeping single windows in the mudroom instead of the doubles?
It's a single window.
With a single window.
What's currently there?
What's currently, so right now, and we were just doing it for more light, you've got one window space, one window space, one window space in the mudroom. And I had ganged them together, so they're just asking, I was just doing this for more light.
Becomes a lot of windows.
So would you be amenable to doing single windows in the mudroom?
Can I just look down at the,
So right now, we have 3 windows, so we're actually just putting one more window in, because the last
no,
window
but I
was
think
bathroom.
his point is the proximity of the windows to each other.
Just that there's space in between them. And I was also mimicking, it's not original, but the fact that there are 2 windows here, 2 windows. And something touching. So the other reason why I thought 2 and 2, kind of, yes, it's not an original detail, but it's, as we've been talking, it's part of the evolution of the home. We may not like the proportions of it, but I thought if I have the two windows ganged together, there's a stud on
Yep.
it, that it does also mimic a detail that's on the house.
Heidi, do you think we could get these 4 in if we went like 1 space, 2 space,
Yeah, we
3
can just
space,
change
4?
where the lockers are. So
Yeah, I mean,
if
I think
you're-
that's-
If that's something the board prefers, I think that's something,
Yeah.
what's your feeling?
So 4 windows.
So it would look
still
like,
4 windows,
it would
we
look
just
like this. It would
separate
be, it would be window, space, window, space, window, space, window. Right, and you might have to play with the length of that bench a little
Maybe the
bit.
bench gets a little bit
Yeah.
shorter.
That would be fine.
So I was just mimicking something that's there, but I think we're very amenable to maintain. Now, this is not original, that is an addition. I don't know what was there. I'm thinking there are stone steps that go up to it that lead nowhere now, so I'm guessing that this may have been a side porch at one time, and that was the side entry, but you can't tell, there's no evidence, sure. In that stone retaining wall, there are steps that lead just up to the little lawn.
Yeah.
So I just don't know what was original there.
Maybe a door.
Okay. Let me just go through some of Mike's comments on the application. He made some good points. He says the addition of the front porch structure helps minimize the impact of the existing 2-story, 5-sided bay, which is a positive. While either porch option, A, no railing, or B, with railing is acceptable, my preference would be option A with no railing, assuming this is acceptable by code given the grade change. And you think it is, right, Heidi?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Option A is much more simple and allows more of the house to be seen. I would encourage the applicant to review additional window options for the left side elevation, bottom right elevation on sheet A21.
Okay.
Yep. The ganged narrow windows are inconsistent with the remainder of the house. So he's saying he's saying left side elevation, but this is actually the right. I think he means right side, don't you?
Well, the left side is the
same.
ones we just talked about.
Right.
These.
Yeah,
these
okay.
Those the left side being the mudroom windows?
I think what Mike is talking about, if he said the 3 windows,
Well, he's saying ganged windows, so the ganged narrow windows, yeah.
oh, maybe he
It's
means
the
the
right
mudroom.
side then. Oh.
Well,
The
there's,
narrow ones are in the mudroom,
right.
just smaller proportions.
And those are the ones we just agreed to
Yes, we have
ungang?
no problem
Okay.
mimicking
Okay.
just the 3 or 4 individual ones.
Okay.
Pulling those apart.
I would encourage the applicant to reuse any of the existing windows as possible.
We plan to keep several of them that are still in working condition. A lot of them are clad in the back.
Okay,
So the 4 that we were just looking at, these are all clad.
okay,
And then the ones across here are clad, and the one on the blank wall is
okay,
clad.
okay. All right. Well, clad obviously can go. Window head heights on the right side elevation should align, so that's what we were talking about earlier with Tomas. I understand the designer's desire to raise the window heights because of the kitchen counter, however, I would encourage study of the additional window options.
So my question there is, if I lower the head height,
Yep.
the windows will be a different size than the remaining in front. And I'm just asking, what would be the board's preference, maintaining the size of the window or maintaining the head height? Because I think we would be amenable to going it's one size.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got a dilemma here with the counter and the kitchen and wanting to have, get light over your sink or where you're working. So I noticed on the interior, you have a desk off to the
Yes, on one side.
robbing. So perhaps, you have a 3, and then maybe you have a single window over the desk or something at a lower height. So it might, study might work the way you have it now, and then maybe instead of the 3 to the rear, maybe you just have a single over the desk looking out at a lower height. Maybe that would work. See, there's some,
Would that look balanced,
I just
though,
wanna- I
from the
just
side of the
wanna
house?
reorient.
So what we're talking about are these 3 windows, 3 here and 3 here.
Yep.
So since this is a desk, the problem is so you're saying if I did 1 or 2 there and just lowered that one?
and maybe it's a larger window that matches the others, but I think if they're a little bit smaller and it's above the kitchen, I think it's okay.
You're okay.
I think it's okay, just as long as they're not the same size.
Okay, so if we...
Because
we
if you're looking from the exterior in, you realize it's a workspace. I mean, it's your kitchen, you're in there, and it's the only place, I think, in the house where you have 3 windows together. And I think, it's towards the rear, but then maybe you pick back up with the window over the desk, you kind of match up the rest of the house. Maybe that might. And
Oh, so you're not saying 3 and 3
He's saying
with
3 and
smaller
1.
size? You're only
So it
saying
was-
smaller
no, I
size
was
for
wondering
3
if
and
you
then
could point
1
out, so-
bigger one?
Yeah, maybe a study looking at that.
And then 1?
Yeah, one over the
Do one
desk.
similar to this, but then do it in full size. So these 3 would be smaller so that the head heights would match the existing, and then this one would be back to the same size as the existings, since this is just a working desk.
And then you wouldn't have so much
You
glass
wouldn't
on that
have
side.
that much glass facing the back.
And again, I don't know what it's going to look like, but it'd be worth a study, just to see.
Do you have the proposed elevation? I just wanted to see.
Yeah, I think I gave mine away and I
Right here?
just don't have it.
Is this, yes, okay.
Is the desk height the same as the counter?
It's going to
No,
drop a little bit,
lower.
but there is counter on the other side, so...
Oh, okay, there.
So I have a aesthetic attachment to the approach of the house from the street on this way, right? So we always come in, et cetera. The head height issue, I'm not sure that, so with a lowered, you're proposing a lowered window, a shorter window,
Maybe something,
so that these align?
so maybe this is as is. And then maybe you pick up this over here.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you go
Pick up,
lower,
yeah.
but you would have the similar,
Right, but you got a desk here that's shorter.
yeah.
So maybe just the one over the desk, if you're going to have a desk here.
Wait, I think that, you're saying, that's correct, right? Yes.
Because I lined the far right window with the window above, because that is a strong center line. And then I have a stud pocket, then I'd have a window, stud pocket, and a window. So this would align. So I'm aligning the existing head height, and I'm going one size
Okay.
smaller to get above my counter.
Okay.
But he was saying that he was okay with an elevated head height here, and then you drop.
No, I think he said this one is
So these three.
those 3 are okay with a higher?
Yeah, this to me looks okay. I'm just, and that's where the main part of your kitchen is.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work with you on that, but then on this part, you can eliminate some of the glass because the desk is here.
Yep.
That maybe it's just one window and you get back to where you were on this part of the house. So it's just a window that is similar in relation to that perhaps. And it's over the desk. Maybe that would be.
Yeah, the desk is 30.
Yeah, so I dropped the desk. So it just,
So you would have the gang of 3 sitting up higher,
Yeah.
and then you would drop that single window down to match the height
Yeah.
of the other ones?
Yeah, see how that looks. I mean, just a suggestion. It's tough to see without seeing the drawings, but that might be, and then you're kind of picking up the,
It pulls in the other part of the house with the
yeah,
window.
maybe that would be.
And you would like that instead of dropping the 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to work with that counter a little bit. We have a similar situation in our house, where we have 3 like that, above a counter, above the sink. And then, it's new construction, so, and this is tucked in again, like you said, behind, behind that.
That's the piece that I think, I almost think the best possible elevation would be like an angular one, right? Because that's really kind of the way you approach the house. And that jog, I think because that gable's bumped out a little bit, the lack of consistency on top of the windows is not as prominent.
I agree.
If that was a flat.
I agree. I agree.
Piece.
I'm just trying to reduce
Yeah,
the
no,
number, that's all.
On that piece, okay.
That's all.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
I understood that you all had a concern on Saturday, so we do have a plan B. And one option that I was looking at was doing 2 sets of windows to get the symmetry on the wall. I'm just a little worried that if I do 2 more. If I have, in one space, if I have different head heights, I was worried. But do you not like that?
I think this is, personally, I like the gang windows and then doing something different over here.
So we could keep the 3 windows at the primary sink area, and then do one smaller, or just
bigger.
What if we did just one
something like
that
this?
matches?
Yeah.
Yeah, that matches.
And I think it's just
together.
more interesting that way.
So then this one would be.
I mean, what do you think, Virginia? What do you think, Ben?
basically this.
I don't have a comment.
Okay. I mean, I think Tomas and I were kind of on the same page with just the glass on that side.
Yep.
I mean, the alternative is this versus this, right?
I was just trying to get symmetry, and that was really kind of
Or the-
how that came about. On the interior, it's a large space, and I still wanted to be somewhat quiet on the exterior with less glass, if that makes sense.
Right.
But this doesn't bother me. Because I can make
I
the
still,
choice.
it's always, just from an aesthetic standpoint, that run of unwindowed clapboard where that back staircase goes, it irks me. And
You put a couple shutters on it, and you've got something that's more substantial.
so you go the two, 3 gang, and then shutters on that.
Sure, sure. And if you wanted to, you can, yeah. And then you move it in a little bit more.
And you would move that, right.
So then,
So it's not all
then we get
clapboards.
the
Move it in
lights.
where, Hans? Left?
I mean,
Maybe
I mean, it's a raw
Now,
drawing.
if you were to do it and you're standing in the kitchen
This would be
looking out,
1 and...
Yeah, 3.
wouldn't you want your head height on the windows to be the
Yeah,
same?
I'd like them to be the same. I think that would look odd, that.
From the inside?
From the inside. yeah.
Right.
That I kind of want them all the same height.
What's, if this window is exactly the same over here, what do you think that's 30 inches? That desk height?
I can do it.
Those are pretty low windows. They come up, if I'm in the house, they might be like up to here in me.
So this is 30.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
It would almost be the inside of the kitchen dictating
Yeah, I know.
the windows, right?
sill is at maybe 27.
It's low.
I mean, this is not a, this is a desk that's, you're thinking about a desk that's just, you put it in, it's not, you're not going to build it in, right?
No, we build it into the counter.
Yeah, it's drawn, built in. It's like, so, you know, if it's a regular kitchen counter height, and then it would drop to a desk height and have a chair tucked in.
Maybe an option would just be a desk that you buy somewhere, you know, to put in there.
Does that change the height?
A standard desk is 30 inches.
So whether it's countertop built in or standard desk, it would still be the
But
same
what Hans
height?
is saying is just in front of both.
So what I'm saying, Hans, is what if they kept the height but made the window ever so slightly shorter? You could then go with the 30-inch.
Yeah, I'd rather keep the head height. To me, that's a line that's an important visual.
Yep.
And if we do go with the one single but keep the three, I'd rather raise that one small window.
Okay.
I think that one is the least visible from the street as well. It's basically in a very similar position to the window that's there now.
Yep.
And I think it's
Okay.
kind of the farthest back of the house, so it got a little smaller.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
Could you do a drawing on that?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Does this get shuttered?
No. If you can't close them,
It looks,
looks big.
Faux?
yeah.
Okay.
So I'll keep the head height at the same point, but I'm just, at the desk, I'm just gonna make it smaller. So
And-
that I'm gonna, you know,
And Heidi, maybe when you're drawing this up, something comes to mind and you think, well, how about this? And there's another
Sure.
option, you know, that we
Sure.
haven't talked about. And, you know, do that too.
because you prefer this than the two
Yes,
together.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So we'll have the head height matching no matter what in that rear
Yeah.
structure.
When you say matching
At the same height.
of what you've proposed.
I'd like to keep it at the higher height, which is what
you
it is
propose-
now.
Okay,
Because if you look at the blank wall and the one window, that window's higher.
already.
Again, because of the counters.
There's gonna be a long run of that kitchen that's not gonna have, it's gonna have one window. I mean, that desk is gonna have one window, that whole seating area is gonna have one window. Now, it's not gonna be very, I mean, it's gonna have the back sliders lit, but you don't have any natural light coming from over here because that's walled off. So,
And now these are further spaced apart.
I mean, the majority of the time, you're gonna be sitting at the counter, at the bar anyways, and you're gonna have those windows that you're gonna be able to look and see the park and stuff, but, okay.
As a builder, do you have any?
I would be adding yet another opinion here
Oh.
and I think you've got a,
A lot of opinions.
yeah. Yeah. I love the porch. I would not put the railing on the porch.
Yeah, we would prefer not to put the
It
railing
really
on.
does, as everyone's already stated, it really softens this
Yeah.
considerably. And then in terms of the stuff in the back, I'm not as particular because of its distance. I understand what you're saying about those, the changes in plane, the projection of that portion of the building on the right-hand side, so you can get away with a higher window header. As a builder, I typically respect window head heights, just as a rule. But that is, again, I'm not going to hold up you as an applicant because of that.
So when you say respect head heights, you mean consistency of head height in a room?
Yeah.
On a wall.
On a wall.
On an entire
Ben is
wall.
saying he would, if he were building this, all of this would be the same height.
Oh.
But we've always proposed, I was thinking the same size window is what your eye would read around that corner. And that's what the detail is now. Around the corner, that window's higher.
But again, this is not something that I would hang up the application, not personally.
Okay.
But you asked me as a builder, I typically respect the window head heights.
Mike had some additional comments. Provide enlarged section detail at porch, roof edge, and column intersection. So, how do you think you can do that? Okay. Application does not appear to indicate siding or trim materials or window specs. This information needs to be provided.
Everything's to match existing, the
Okay.
windows and I can put it in writing. It's
Okay.
Marvin or the Colby,
Okay.
wood insulated.
The
7
muttons to match and all that, okay. Okay. So those are the comments on the house from Mike. Anything else?
Well, so I think we spent a lot of time talking about the windows in the kitchen. I missed it until Heidi brought it up, but how do you feel on the double windows in the mudroom?
They are narrow.
They're
The
narrow.
glass, as Mike has pointed out, they are narrow, and they're narrower than anything else. But if the applicant's okay with the suggested changes, I think we have a solution there. I thought everybody was good with that suggested
Or I
change.
can widen them, I have plenty of room.
Could you?
I could widen them.
I think,
If you're okay with the double,
personally, I would like
could
to see
widen
if you
them.
could widen them to this size. But I
We
would
can
also-
look at it on an
but I would-
elevation.
I would also, my first inclination was just to have left them, and I know that might not necessarily be, but have left them just as single windows.
Well, why don't I show both, and we can discuss it at the next hearing. Is that both those options? Because we're going to have to revise, if I widen the windows, I don't have to change the mudroom or the powder room. Pulling them apart,
You might have to change
I'm
the
going to
footprint a little bit.
change the layout.
But if the bench gets squeezed a little bit, one way or the other, it's not like,
Yeah.
I'm
it's,
fine
I
with
mean, the
one.
big deal for us is the kitchen windows.
Yeah,
That's the big deal for us. You know, if we've got to move or widen those other windows, that's fine, we can make it work. It's a mudroom.
I think, as Hans has pointed out, as the chairman has pointed out, excuse me, you're going to think of some other options in addition to what was already discussed here.
Yeah.
Sorry to lean on your desk, my eyes are just,
So just for clarity, the main issue with the kitchen is the 2 sets of gang.
Yeah, I think so. And we've discussed options on the driveway side. I think you've got a very nice solution here for, looking back on this bump out on this bay. I mean, if this was brought to this commission, in 95. So, but, but a lot of times what we see is, we really don't see solutions to, an issue like this, but I think you've really done a nice job minimizing it with this porch
I wanted
here.
it to disappear a little.
Right, and I think that's.
When you turn the corner, you're
I
kind of
think
like,
it-
whoa.
I think it does that.
Big.
I think it does that, and it fits in well with what's there. It also, I think, fits in well with the neighborhood. I mean, there's porches in the neighborhood, and there's porches on different streets. So I think this is an improvement over what's there.
And what I really like about it for this family, they're going to use it.
Yep.
It's just not a decorative thing. I mean, their kids play
They're at the baseball
baseball.
field all day.
Yeah, no, I
So
think.
I love that it's form follows function in 2017, which sometimes we don't see.
I think it works well with the house. So.
We had one last question for the board, and this is something my husband and I have been talking about, is we haven't decided yet if we wanted to change the color of the house, but if we did, we would want to change it to white. So we were asking the board if we would have permission to either keep it yellow or change it white.
You can keep it yellow, definitely. If you have a white house in a historic district, it's already white, it's grandfathered in, and you can keep it white. To change it to white would require an application, to do that.
Okay.
We have approved in the past creams, but not the stark whites that you see around town.
Okay.
Because it's just white. This goes way back. It's really not an historic color, but if you look at the palette that Andrea has a copy of, there's all different colors to pick from. But it's certainly the yellow you have on there. I don't believe it's a historic color. But if you want to keep the yellow, you keep the yellow. So, but the white, would be up for discussion.
Why don't we look at the palette and at the next
Yeah.
Did you bring it to the
we can
next meeting
discuss,
as well?
what other options there are?
And
Does Hingham Lumber have that? Or
They said they were going to carry it, but somebody went there the other day and they didn't have it.
okay.
So that's kind of frustrating, so I have to call them and find out.
There's that spot in Weymouth, right?
Yes, there is, I forget, Ace? No.
Oh, you're kidding.
The paint, no, not an Ace. There's a paint store
Okay.
that carries it's a color palette developed by Historic New England. And what they did was they researched the paint colors that were appropriate both to this area of New England as opposed to, people talk about Williamsburg colors, but our colors up here were different. And so it has to do with when the house was built and what the style of the house is. So we can look at that. You might find something else that's fun.
Thank you.
Do you have a little bit of time to talk about the barn real quick before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
before we
let's
head
hear,
off?
let's,
Okay,
yeah, we want
let's-
to know what you thought of the barn.
Let's just give them some comments to work on here. So, I'll just lead it off. I think it's great you want to preserve this. I think it's terrific. I think it's great you want to put an office in here, so I understand what you want to do with it. I think if we can kind of maintain the barn look to this as much as possible, that would be what I would point you towards. I think when you start putting the dormers off on the roof, it kind of becomes less of a barn and something else. Kind of like it's got like flaps on it. I know your neighbor right to the left of you has got a shed dormer off towards the inside of his property. Off of his barn, facing your house, right? I would rather see the roof maintained, but I understand you need to get up there to get the stairs up there, and you're probably ducking and you're hitting your head or whatever.
Yeah, it's low.
If you could somehow, Heidi, work it in that maybe there's just one dormer off the side, I think it would be, it would just be more appropriate, look a little bit more like a barn, but could still give you some light coming up there.
Excuse me, so the one option I did, I moved the stairs to the other side, to the inside, and I did only have one shed facing your yard.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Hans is saying.
Yeah.
Would you be amenable to that? Because we do have to completely rebuild those stairs.
Yeah.
We can't reuse them.
Yeah, it would be really good to have one shed because there's just no light there. It's just not a functional space, really, without some, I'm sure there's one window in the back, but.
Yep. The other comment Mike had was that the existing hay door in the front barn elevation should remain as its removal detracts from the original character of the barn. This could be walled off on the interior side to prevent any safety issues. I think I agree with Mike. I think that facade there looks terrific, and whatever you can do to keep it. On the south side, you have a window, and that's kind of where most of the light, I think, is going to come through. So maybe you can do something, I don't know what the size of that window is, we didn't get around to look at the back of that. So,
yeah, that window's pretty, there's a lot of foliage from the.
so maybe
cover it up.
there's, I can't really tell how big it is, but maybe there's something you can do with the size of that one, let some more light in perhaps. It's on the south side, I don't know.
I showed Lisa this I saw in Camden, Maine.
Ooh, that's pretty.
It's barn doors that they put hinges on, and there's a window there. And I'd like to show the board
Yeah,
that.
that's cool.
So I just saw this in Camden, Maine this weekend, and forgive me, I didn't print it, but it maintained the hay doors, but they made them out-swinging on hinges. And then there was a window or a screen that they would place. So when they do want the air and the light, they can open them. And then when they close them, it will still look like this. So we were wondering if that was amenable.
The only thing I'd say about this, Heidi, is that it seems like these shutters take up a lot of the space, and they go all the way to the, to the roof line, so maybe
But
it's...
ours won't do that.
Okay.
All I'm saying is I'm not changing this at all. I just want to be able to open it into pieces. Would that be amenable?
I think they're going to be open all the time, so,
But I think it has to be a screen inside, not a permanent window where you can't, unless that's
Yeah.
mechanical.
Yeah, it's interesting because it is, the way it's
It's
done.
in swinging now, right?
The beadboard is actually built so that there is a center visual scene.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I think it would actually look good. For what it's worth, I agree with the aesthetic of that barn. I really think, I don't know necessarily if it's the way they swing in or out. It's the scale of that door above the door below it.
Yes.
That looks really good.
I agree.
And even when Heidi drew the plans, I looked at it, I'm like, I'm not sure I like that window enough there to
we've been
put
talking
it
back
in.
and
So,
forth.
but, I mean, so what I'm going to be left with is one of two things. Either you guys are going to think that that's okay, or I'm going to be in a situation where I leave that door and it swings in, and I have a custom screen made that when I swing it in, I just put the screen in place, right? That's because, it's the air coming through there is just really nice when you're up there. And I have to have something there, so.
Other thoughts? Go ahead, Christine.
I think the aesthetic of the barn is beautiful and historic and ought to be unchanged. I couldn't support even one shed dormer on a barn. I think, and I appreciate the need to have an office, but I think if function can yield to form in this for the preservation of a simple barn that's been there for 120 years, I think that's worth a lot, frankly. And to work around that without changing the structure of it is all to the good. And I wasn't so in favor of a porch, but I can tell you, I am tepid about a porch compared to the barn, in the sense of, I think the need to preserve the barn is absolutely important. The form of the barn.
I would be in favor of what Mike had suggested.
The one shed door.
One shed dormer on the inside, absolutely.
Mike is not, he's not suggesting a dormer, but he is
That was you.
He is,
And I would be,
but Mike is suggesting,
Commenting the neighbors.
Mike is suggesting the hay door should remain. That's his, likes it. Ben, what do you think?
Someone took my plans,
Oh.
so I just want to
There's a
say,
lot of them going around, sorry.
Well, this is the existing barn, let me find,
Do you have a photo of it? Oh, you've got the same photo
this,
I'm looking
yeah.
at, okay, yeah.
it might be that set just in front of you.
oh yeah, you actually handed this.
Right.
This is all yours.
I like the fact that you're going to use it. That's what, it's to use it more than just for storage, I think is.
The view, and the reason why I'm particularly partial, like any chance I have to look out at that, like the fence that they put in the park, that wrought iron fence is just beautiful. It's a nice view. Yeah, I can see the kids.
Yeah, you look out over the backyard.
Yeah, yeah, but I agree with you. I really do. I really don't want that door to go away. It's just, it looks very cool.
It does, it's
Yep.
awesome.
It is
Especially from the
awesome.
street, looking down your driveway.
Yeah, you look right down the driveway. It looks very, the scale is awesome.
Yep.
It's really like an English barn, actually, more than an American barn.
It is. I like it very much.
Heidi, what about the idea of this dormer here, instead of bringing it to the ridge, lower at the ridge, so you see more of the original structure of the barn?
I could definitely do that. Now I don't have any drawings, so I have to look at your drawings.
Obviously, you have to think about the pitch.
Yeah, because right now I
As you drop
have a
this-
412 pitch, and
And you want to do asphalt, so
my head
you probably want
height
to stay
is-
with that.
I could certainly drop, because I think that says I have a 6'4" head height for my window. I could drop that to 6.
Well, the comment about the wings, I
But
think
I'm
is,
saying I could drop this whole thing, like
Right.
take the whole thing and drop it.
the comment about the wings,
Yeah.
I would have to agree, just because of the way they're connecting
Sure.
here.
As I just, well, the building inspector have a problem with the stairs coming up, and I only have like, that I don't have 6 to 8.
You're going to have a landing here but to turn,
I'll have to
because you're going to
turn.
hit your head on this.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to do the opposite. I was going to start the stairs, I was thinking maybe start them back here, go up, and then go this way.
I see.
I'm
They're
just
gonna-
wondering if he's going to have but maybe if I expose this inside,
He's going to
You'll
want the
let
6'8".
me-
What do you have now? What would you have?
I only have, well, the head height, I have
The same
6'4", and then if I have my 8 inches, so
Mhm.
I have my 7.
You think you'll be the only one going up there, or you think there'll be kids? Everybody just...
No, I don't think so. I think the way we've got the house set up right now, we've got some kid space in the basement, so if they want to go and roll around and play ping pong or whatever they want to do. Yeah, it's a little tight down there, but it's going to be my office.
Yeah, if I did, but that's kind of, but is
Man
that
cave.
limited?
Well, yeah, I'm going to try to do it, I'm going to try to do it a little bit more reading space, a quiet reading, take a phone call space type of, set up my computer screen so it doesn't have to sit in somebody's bedroom, It's not a terribly big house, so
It's very small. It's like
grabbing some additional space would
Yes,
be,
I'm just worried, like right there, I don't have,
would be good.
if I lower this whole thing, I'm right at 7 now. So if I lower it, I won't need code. Unless, so here's one question, what if I took this shed dormer and moved it all the way back? And like you said, get creative with the structural engineer to get my height.
Right.
I'm saying if I push the whole, right now I have the shed dormer centered.
It should be centered, right?
I think
It should be
has to
centered.
be, but by default, if I lower it, I can't physically make those stairs.
How about using the
code.
peak? How about using the peak?
Yeah,
Can
if your stairs came up at the center.
In the middle.
I mean,
I could do that.
or,
Play around with this.
I mean, spiral, I mean...
Have you ever tried going up a spiral?
Metal?
It's a barn.
Well, I was
It's a
asking...
barn.
I was-
I'd rather have it come to the middle, you're right. If I just come to the middle, I can still have
Yeah.
my shed, have it lower, so it's not at,
Maybe that works.
if I have my ridge here, and have this set very secondary but centered, and then have the stairs come at the peak, then I have my height.
And that's for the purpose of lowering the angle that the shed comes off.
If I want to lower, the only reason why this is here was I'm at the minimum code
Head height.
head height.
Headroom, yeah.
And so the whole purpose was that I made the stairs to code, and
Yeah.
and Mr. Clancy will catch that.
Yeah.
But I think, like you're saying, if I put the stairs to the
Peak, yep.
middle,
Yep.
then I'm in better shape.
Okay. All right, good, see how that works.
Yeah, this detail's very nice.
Yeah, and we
And the screen
talked
could be
about
in
it.
there, screen could be in there permanently. It's not something you'd have to remove if these swing in. It's certainly a choice you
If they swing
could
in, I would
make.
have to remove it because in order for it to swing in, it needs, it couldn't have something in front of it.
No, this screen would be out on the outside.
Oh, on the outside.
Wouldn't that bother you guys if I had a swing?
Well, there's certain screen material that is almost.
Not visible
yeah.
very much. Is that, I really liked that idea. I liked the visual of the two swinging out. I think it might actually look
I don't know
quite
if you saw
quite nice.
what I found.
It would be, I don't think it would be a window, and I don't think it would be open all the time. But
I just like this, I mean, this is,
it's kind of a cool idea.
Look at those rafters now, those are pretty.
oh, everything's undersized.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to sister. So I just saw this on an interesting barn.
I see.
And I can't tell and it was at 6 a.m., so I wasn't paying attention. I can't tell if that was a permanent window or just a screen, but we liked the idea that we could just take.
Sorry.
It's okay. Weekend of the same. So I just thought it was interesting. I can't tell if it's new or old, but I thought it was interesting that our current barn has a vertical seam. And it could be kind of cool. I mean, but I'm wondering, do you think that's electric?
Yeah, there's something going on there, mechanical.
And I don't think we want it mechanical.
Definitely not.
We just like the idea of opening them and then just sticking a screen
Yeah.
in there.
But I mean, I guess,
So it would be a
if it,
temporary
I mean, if we're
thing.
just gonna put a screen in there, it's not as big a deal. If it opens internally, I mean, I guess, yeah.
I just thought it was an interesting detail.
Yeah, maybe
But
there's
luckily
something to
our barn
slide up and down or something from the inside.
Yeah.
And a screen there to help you out. Open it up.
Yeah,
just-
like a
just-
channel.
Just little, pull it up,
Pull it up,
goes
put it
up,
down.
to the floor, right?
drop it down when you're done. And it stays. It keeps the rain out.
Well, the guard, I don't know.
And then you don't have to put the shutters
Yeah.
aside. And
There's
it
no
just
way
kind of
to
maintain the integrity of what it is right now.
So that would be your argument.
Something to think about. Heidi, I gotta keep things moving
I'm
along.
sorry.
That's okay,
Yeah,
though.
we're just commenting what.
We want to give you
Mr.
as much as
Clancy
you can tonight, so you're prepared coming back next time.
I might
When is the
speak with
next,
him.
Okay.
when is the next meeting?
Month from,
A month?
Thursday.
It is September,
17th?
so, is it the 17th?
14th, sorry.
14th, thank you.
Okay.
Would you want any of these revised drawings, not by August 28th, the deadline for the hearing, but would you like them a week in advance?
That would be very helpful.
That'd be helpful?
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Anyway, I can get a copy of what Mike just wrote, so like even if you emailed it to
Sure,
me.
I'll do that
It would
tomorrow
just
morning.
Because, I mean, I really respect his opinion, and I'd like to.
We'll get it to you.
read it.
Perfect.
I'll get it to you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, everyone.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks for your time, appreciate it very much. Thank you all.
We'll see you next time.
Sure.
I don't even know what's.
Any others, a bigger?
Okay. Sorry to keep you waiting. Come on up. All right, next up, we have, this is the Essentials Day Spa, 222 North Street.
That's it.
Thanks for coming in, and appreciate your patience.
Need help, Heidi?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
This is for the replacement of an existing sign
Yes.
and putting up something new?
Yeah, exactly. Same dimensions, just a new sign, that's all.
Is anything going to change about the sign?
The wording of it, that's all.
Okay. And it's going to say?
222, which is the address.
Just 222?
222 Salon Spa,
222 Salon Spa.
which I think I submitted a copy of it. Basically, yep.
Okay.
Which is the address, so I'm just changing, I'm gonna change it to do a DBA.
Okay.
So I'm actually remodeling the whole inside, so I took the opportunity where I'm just gonna rebrand it and
Okay.
relaunch it.
And you're going to put the awning up too?
Yes, I'd like
to put the awning. Okay.
So it'll say 222, it doesn't say Salon Spa,
It actually,
Not on the awning.
not on the awning.
but not on the sign either.
The sign, it actually does, that was just a
This is the
photo.
old one?
I actually did submit another piece of paperwork where it does actually say.
Yeah.
uh,
We have that?
No, because, remember, was it?
You didn't, it
Baggy
wasn't,
color?
the color copy I gave her wasn't white enough, she said, but I did put the card, which
Okay.
pretty much is exactly what it's gonna look like.
You got the
So
phone?
exactly. it's a
Exactly,
business
yes.
card.
It's not going to say the phone number in the bottom, but that's all it's going to say.
So there's a sign there now?
Yes.
And the materials you're using are?
I'm going to go with the same wood. That's it. I'm not changing anything. Nothing crazy.
What script is that?
I'm going to have to get back to you.
It's not historic, guys.
I have no idea.
Have you required historic script in the past? Got to lighten things up a little bit.
No, I'm just doing my diligence, that's all.
So is an awning there now?
There is not an awning.
So but that's an.
That's what I'd like, I do want to do an awning on the building. Since I'm redoing it, I feel as though we've been there 20 years. There's nothing to really draw attention to it, because literally you drive by North Street where we are, next to the fire station.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we've been here 20 years, and the people, I'm sure you've driven by and you don't even know we're there. But we've been there 20 years, we're a successful business, we're not going anywhere. But we want to draw a little bit more attention to it.
Well.
But there are quite a few people, I mean, this might just pop it that much more. And I figure since I'm spending all this money rebranding, remodeling, now's the time to do it all. So, that's why I'm here.
So this is near Pueblos?
Same building. Yes.
You were around the front?
Where Papalos is on the opposite side that we are. We're on the parking lot side,
you're on the
in
parking
between the
lot.
fire
Gotcha.
station.
Right, okay.
They've been there, I think, 25 years. We've been there 20.
Right. Are there awnings on that building now?
No, I don't believe so.
Have we approved awnings? Another?
Canvas?
Yeah?
Whatever that it's supposed to be, that's what it's going to be.
Okay.
I'm not fighting, I'm not.
Yeah, I think just,
It appears to be canvas here.
yeah, not vinyl, right? Just
No.
canvas.
Yeah, we need a canvas.
Yes.
I think there's a certain product that's
How it's
sun resistant.
Sunbrella?
and-
Exactly.
yeah, Sunbrella,
How
something
it's
like that.
supported against the building, everything, whatever it is that's supposed to be done, that's how it's done.
Gotcha.
Well, I don't like change, but even I can go for this.
Oh, Virginia. Any other comments, questions? All right. Somebody like to make a motion for 222?
You're all set.
Maybe I can read this motion,
All
because
right,
it's really
Ronnie.
simple. Motion for replace the sign and to add a canvas awning on
All in favor?
222 North Street for Essentials Day Spa.
Sign to be, to look like the business card that we have.
Yes.
It's wood.
Wood.
Yep.
Only the titles, though.
Yep. And canvas on. Great. Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for waiting.
Oh, no problem. So I can go ahead and I can give them
Yeah.
approval to stop producing the product then?
Yes,
Okay.
you're all
Go
set.
for
No, because I couldn't do it, I couldn't give them the go-ahead until I got this go-ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, have a good night.
Am I the last one?
Yes, actually, we had
It was
an,
a quick one.
Must have had a cancellation.
Good luck with the business.
Thank you.
Did Fearing Street,
no,
We're missing 315 North and 30
They-
North.
Are missing
canceled.
two, right?
Oh, I did.
Oh.
315 North called up late this afternoon, and they're rethinking their proposal. And so they're going to bring possibly a shed dormer to us for the rear of the Cape.
Okay.
Um,
So it's
coming-
continued?
It's
Or-
not continued, they've
It's a
withdrawn.
Oh, withdrawn.
And they're going to do something completely different with their barn.
Okay.
have we heard from Fearing Street?
No,
In that case, do we, if... so-
we can't do anything with it.
Do we vote officially in that situation?
No, we don't have to because it's not, there is time yet. It's
Okay.
not close to
Okay. So
being
no-
constructively
Okay, so
approved.
you'll talk to them and we'll
I
add
will
it
talk
the
to them.
next meeting. Okay, all right. Should we do the other pieces of business?
Sure,
then? Okay.
sure.
And then we'll get going?
Okay, so it is time, our annual election. So And we're down a few people, but I think we can do this. So, anybody have anybody to propose? Would you like to propose something?
Well, yeah, I nominate Hans.
Second?
I'm all for that, and I nominate Virginia as vice chair.
Yeah, I'm very happy with Virginia as vice chair.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's settled.
Opposed? No.
That was easy.
Red or blue, which,
And then we need to vote on the revised applications and the certificate of appropriateness rules and regulations. I mean, if everybody's had a chance to review, and I think most of us have made changes already, we could vote on it tonight. If you want a little bit of time to, review it, we could do that, but I think everybody's had a chance.
It is.
So this is the one that I got this in an email from you, the final, I thought, in an email.
Yes. Is that the one, let's see, we're talking about, here we go. This should be the first page. It
Yes.
talks, we've added the fact that there are two other types of certificates that use the same application form, but note that the requirements are different. So that should be your first page.
So just this section on the bottom here, right?
Yep. Other than that, it's, okay. Thomas, did you get this one?
Yep.
Okay, good.
And everybody saw the rules and regulations too? That one was emailed around?
Yeah, that was,
Rules and procedures.
Thanks for changes, everyone.
yeah, application requirements.
And the intent for that was, we already have rules and procedures in place, but this document was just an enhancement of what we already have, and gave some additional detail and some subtleties that, and enhancements were included, so.
It gives some clarity and, for the applicant.
Yeah, I think so, that was the intent.
I move the adoption of both documents.
Okay, do we have a second?
second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yay.
Opposed? Okay. Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
That was a lot of work, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's,
And Hans, that was a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Andrea put a ton of time into that.
As someone who's coming into this new, it was very helpful, so I can only imagine, I'm probably the closest to someone who's an applicant, looking for direction.
true.
Yeah.
It was really helpful.
Oh, thank you. Good, glad.
Okay. I'd like to close the meeting for the Historic Districts Commission. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.